You're about to hear a compilation of true horror stories from Reddit. For the best experience, use headphones. Tyler had always been fiercely protective of Maddie. Their friendship, formed in the sandbox of their childhood, had weathered many a storm. Yet nothing could have prepared him for the maelstrom that Funworld was about to throw them into. The day started like any other for Tyler and Maddie. A bright Saturday morning with plans to visit Funworld, a sprawling amusement park that had been the highlight of every local summer since its grand opening 20 years ago. The park was a riot of colors. Neon lights flickered, rides whirred and clanked, and the air was thick with the mingling scents of popcorn, cotton candy, and the faint tinge of motor oil. Tyler was stepping off the tilt-a-whirl, catching his breath and steadying his mildly dizzy frame, when he noticed Maddie standing near the cotton candy stand, her eyes scanning the crowd. She lifted a hand and gave a small wave, and Tyler couldn't help but grin. As he moved toward her, a group of costumed performers paraded between them, momentarily blocking his view. The performers dispersed within seconds, but Maddie was gone. At first, Tyler rationalized it. She must have moved towards another stand or maybe even darted towards the restroom without signaling. Yet, a sliver of unease curled within his stomach. He called her name, once, twice. Ambient noises swallowed his voice. Panic set in quickly. He pushed through the throngs of people, his eyes scanning frantically for any sign of her. The park's cheerful facade now seemed sinister, its vibrant attractions mocking his desperation. Nervously interacting with park staff and security, Tyler received little more than polite indifference. "We'll keep an eye out," they repeatedly assured him. His own calls to Maddie's phone went straight to voicemail. Hours passed. The park darkened, and the festive twinkle of lights became ominous points of uncertainty. Tyler's unease grew as he discovered disturbing truths hidden in the glossy park brochures. Whispers of past disappearances, hushed among employees, painted Funworld in a sinister light. The park's labyrinthine layout, with shadowy pathways and unmarked maintenance tunnels, only deepened his dread. In his search, Tyler encountered Yvonne, a disgruntled ex-employee who had her own grudges against the park. She spoke in hushed tones of an urban legend, a secret society that exploited Funworld's infrastructure for human trafficking. Her bitterness lent credibility to her claims, and Tyler felt the chill of her words settle like frost on his skin. The deeper he probed, the clearer Tyler's path became, yet it took him places he wished he hadn't ventured. Late into the night, in a dingy, neglected corner of the park, he stumbled upon a hidden door camouflaged by torn posters. Inside, the air was stale and oppressive. Descending narrow, creaky stairs, Tyler found himself in a sprawling underground facility. Walls lined with cages, vacant eyes peering from within. His heart raced as he spotted Maddie, her face pale with fear, her body curled up in the corner of a rusty cell. The sight unleashed a torrent of emotions: relief, guilt, rage. Breaking open her cage, Maddie clung to him, muttering incoherently about masked figures and cryptic symbols that adorned the walls. The chilling underground lair, full of stolen lives, mirrored a devil's playground. Tyler moved swiftly, freeing as many captives as he could, before the dreaded presence of the secret society's leader emerged. The confrontation was a blur of frantic action, gasps, and desperate tussles. Desperation fueled Tyler's adrenaline. With Maddie and a few other captives in tow, he navigated the labyrinthine passages, dodging sinister operatives and narrowly escaping several traps. Bursting out into the night air, their path to freedom illuminated by the distant wails of police sirens responding to his hurried 911 call. Tyler and Maddie's ordeal did not end there. The police raided Funworld, apprehending the ringleaders, yet the scars of their horrors remained etched in their minds. Maddie was safe, physically at least, but the shadows of her captivity lingered. Tyler, too, wrestled with his guilt, the burden of his inability to protect Maddie weighing heavy on his soul. The park, once a beacon of joy, was now a stark reminder of the lurking evils hidden behind the veneer of everyday life. Tyler's resolve hardened. He vowed to dismantle such atrocities, ensuring that Fun World's grotesque underbelly was exposed and eradicated. The sun's rays dripped in gold through the crevices of Thrilltown's wooden lattice fence, bathing the amusement park in light-hearted warmth. Lily, a single mother and a devoted high school teacher, had planned this trip for over a month. Ethan, her ever-curious 7-year-old, bounced with excitement next to her, his eyes reflecting the joy and innocence of childhood. "Mom, there he is!" Ethan tugged at her hand, pointing toward the park's beloved mascot, Thrill the Clown, who stood surrounded by a sea of ecstatic children. But something grizzled within Lily. She had heard whispers, rumors that had unsettled her slightly, disturbances, odd occurrences, children vanishing without a trace. Parents hugged their kids tighter. Fear had become another uninvited guest at the happiest place in town. Lily's unease grew as she began noticing the mascot's unusual behavior. Thrill the Clown seemed too keen, shades darker beneath the painted smile. But as a veteran of life's harsh realities, and having faced the cruel world as a single parent, she dismissed it as her motherly instincts on high alert. "Mommy!" Ethan's delighted shriek pulled her back to the moment. Thrill the Clown approached them, his large painted grin and jittery eyes terrifying rather than comforting Lily. "Hello, little friend." The mascot's voice, oddly jovial yet chilling, reached her ears. Before she could react, he reached out his oversized hand and grabbed Ethan's wrist. The cheering crowd drowned Lily's scream as Thrill tightened his grip and started to pull Ethan away into the labyrinth of Thrilltown. Heart-pounding, she raced after them, shoving strangers aside, eyes scanning every nook and twisted corner of the sprawling park. The joy of the park morphed into an endless maze, each alley filled with horror. The cheerful attractions now seemed malevolent, colors blurring into cacophonies of dread. There was laughter and joy, but murmurs of something sinister lurked in its shadows. Unbeknownst to the visitors, the park housed a ghastly secret. Years ago, a disturbed employee named Harold Macduff had donned the same costume as Thrill the Clown. An urban legend said that Harold used his position to lure children into the underbelly of the park, never to be seen again. He was fired, and the story was buried. But whispers never ceased. Lily recalled reading about it, just in passing, brushing it off as mere urban legend. Her terror grew as she uncovered disturbing clues: broken toys, eerily familiar shoes, cryptic carvings on the walls. Her despair deepened when she stumbled upon an ancient trapdoor camouflaged beneath a ride. The air turned colder when she pried it open and descended into darkness, the stench of mold and rot assaulting her senses. The underground was nothing short of a nightmare's canvas, a chilling makeshift prison. Ethan was there, along with other abducted children, their eyes wide and hollow with fear. The grotesque walls, scrawled with drawings and messages of despair, echoed their cries. Before Lily could react, Thrill the Clown emerged from the shadows. His facade dropped to reveal Harold Macduff's deranged eyes gleaming with sick pleasure. "A dedicated mom, aren't you? Let's play." His bone-chilling voice slithered into the marrow of her bones. Summoning every ounce of her courage, Lily lunged at him, clawing and fighting with desperate ferocity. The confrontation was ferocious, both tumbling and struggling, her mind racing with fears and doubts. Her thoughts intertwined. She must save Ethan. She must bear the unspeakable horrors for him. In a frenzied scuffle, she managed to incapacitate Harold, shackling him with the very chains he used to imprison those innocent souls. The sight of the deranged man, helpless and writhing on the ground, provided her no sense of victory, only hollow relief. Cops played their sirens over cries of joy and relief, arresting Harold and bringing this horrifying chapter to an end. Lily and Ethan emerged into the light, but the scars of those dark tunnels engraved themselves in their souls. Every corner, every shadow of Thrilltown held haunting remnants of traumatic recollections. She clung to Ethan, her resolve fortified. No place, not even an amusement park, would harm him again. The park underwent scrutiny. Security measures were upped, and authorities swore this would never happen again. Yet, the legend and its lingering dark memories would forever be intertwined with Thrilltown. Lily's quaking hands never left Ethan's tiny frame as they exited the park. The story may have ended, but the trauma, suspicion, and mother's instinct would never allow them to forget the dread and unease that would forever lurk just beyond the surface of their lives. Jenna and Aaron were the quintessential college sweethearts, the type that finished each other's sentences and found joy in the simplest things. Happy Hills Amusement Park, with its promise of a carefree day, was just the respite they needed from their strenuous coursework. Hand in hand, they navigated through the throngs of people, exploring ride after ride, reveling in their shared moments of bliss. Happy Hills was a nostalgic relic with a joyfully sinister undercurrent. Colorful murals of smiling clowns adorned the walls. The air was thick with the mingling scents of popcorn and nostalgia, and the sound of delighted shrieks pierced the air. This place was once a haven of joy, but an uneasy undercurrent belied its cheerful facade. Everything changed when they boarded the haunted house ride. Known for its eerie realism, it promised thrills and chills. The creaking floors seemed lifelike, the dim, flickering lights casting monstrous shadows in every corner. And the eerie props, human mannequins with lifeless eyes, were disturbingly convincing. As the cart moved through the ride, Jenna clutched Aaron's hand, comforted by his presence. But halfway through the ride, Aaron's laughter echoed ominously, reverberating through the darkness, and then silence. When the ride ended, Aaron was nowhere to be found. Frantic and trembling, Jenna alerted the park staff, but they were dismissive, assuring her that he must have wandered off. Jenna's unease only grew. The laughter she had heard before his disappearance was unlike anything she had ever known. It carried a disturbing note. Desperation gnawed at her as she wandered through the park, calling his name, questioning everyone she met. As night descended, Happy Hills transformed into a chilling carnival of shadows. Jenna's search took her to the park's derelict corners, the forgotten attractions shrouded in darkness. An old Ferris wheel loomed ominously, its once vibrant gondolas now rattling ghostly in the wind. Near that forsaken wheel, she overheard whispers among the park staff about the underground maze, a hidden labyrinth beneath the haunted house that guests rarely, if ever, found. Determined and driven by an unrelenting love for Aaron, Jenna returned to the haunted house. This time she was prepared and focused. Her hands trembled as she pried open a hidden trapdoor concealed beneath a rotting skeleton prop. Descending into the dank labyrinth, she was met with damp air and the cloying smell of decay. The maze was a sinister tangle of narrow corridors adorned with cryptic symbols, relics of the park's founder, a man whose name had long been whispered in urban legends as synonymous with madness. As she delved deeper, Jenna stumbled upon abandoned rooms filled with eerie relics, old park maps, mannequins with gouged eyes, and unsettling artworks depicting grotesque beings. It became clear that the founder had created this underground maze, not merely as an attraction, but as a dark sanctuary for his twisted activities. Each step Jenna took sent chills racing through her spine, and the walls seemed to close in, threatening to consume her. In a particularly dank and musty chamber, Jenna discovered the terrifying truth. Arranged grotesquely around the room were several victims, including Aaron, bound and gagged, their eyes wide with terror. Aaron's face was pale, his eyes pleading silently, as Jenna's breath caught in her throat. And then, from the shroud of darkness, stepped out the deranged founder, his gaunt face illuminated by the flickering light of a single hanging bulb. The confrontation was a nightmarish blur. The founder's eyes gleamed with a malevolent delight, his voice a grating rasp as he spoke of the pure horror he intended to unleash. Jenna's heart pounded with fear and anger, but her resolve never wavered. Using a rusted metal bar she had found, she fought fiercely, her mind a whirlwind of desperation and courage. Miraculously, she overpowered him, her blows fueled by the sheer will to save Aaron. The police arrived just in time, storming the underground chamber and arresting the founder and his accomplices. Aaron and the other captives were freed, but the ordeal left indelible marks on everyone involved. Though their physical scars would heal, the psychological ones would linger, haunting their dreams. Jenna and Aaron's reunion was bittersweet. They clung to each other, hearts beating as one, grateful to have survived but forever changed by their experience. Happy Hills was shut down, its dark secrets exposed, yet the lingering unease persisted. Jenna vowed to dig deeper into the hidden horrors of Happy Hills, determined to bring them to light and ensure that no one else would suffer the same fate. As they left the park, Jenna looked back at the shadowy silhouette of Happy Hills, now a corpse of its former self. She knew that some horrors are never truly vanquished, merely buried, waiting for the right moment to resurface. In the golden glow of a Saturday afternoon, Joyland Park buzzed with life. Children's laughter mingled with the upbeat melodies of carnival music, forming an inviting symphony. Among the throng, 17-year-old Chris Walker held tightly to the clammy hand of his 10-year-old brother Jamie. The brothers' bond was an anchor, unshakable, forged through years of shared adventures and whispered secrets, an unspoken vow of protection and love. But the park's cheerful facade harbored eerie, overlooked corners. The haunted house ride, a gaudy monstrosity buzzing with hollow, eerie wails, drew their attention like a moth to flame. Jamie pointed at it, eyes wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. "Can we, Chris? Just one ride?" Against his better judgment, Chris relented, guiding Jamie toward the attraction. As they entered the labyrinthine corridors, the dim lighting and unsettling props quickly separated them in both space and consciousness. A heart-stopping scream followed, a sound no child should ever make, and instantly, Jamie was gone. Desperation struck Chris hard. His frantic calls for Jamie were met with the indifferent laughter of animatronic ghouls. The park's ambience shifted from playful to predatory, each cheerful sound mocking his rising drip. He stumbled out of the haunted house alone, the sun dipping beneath the horizon, casting long shadows that seemed to swallow his hope. As the night closed in, Chris' determination hardened. He combed through the arcade, the food stands, the Ferris wheel. Each ride he once viewed with joy, now a monstrous facade. The echoing emptiness of the park became a relentless reminder of his failure. He questioned the staff, his voice trembling with a haze of panic. Most shrugged off his concerns, attributing Jamie's disappearance to a child's wanderlust. By midnight, the park had gradually hushed, leaving Chris in an eerie silence that heightened his anxiety. He sought refuge in his mind, recalling the urban legends whispered about Joyland's founder, rumors that painted him as a figure of pure malevolence, involved in the sinister disappearance of children. As threads of those nightmarish tales wove themselves into his reality, Chris understood that Jamie's vanishing was no mere accident. Exhausted yet undeterred, Chris wormed his way into the dark history of the park, piecing together an unsettling puzzle. Official records spoke of missing children, their disappearances chalked up to misadventure, never confirmed, never investigated thoroughly. His conversation with a maintenance worker hinted at a conspiracy, half-spoken words about secret tunnels, cover-ups, and payoffs. Chris Hope battled with dread. Memories of their last argument, trivial bickering over a borrowed game, gnawed at his conscience. Every moment was poisoned with guilt. Every whisper of wind spoke of regret. Yet, amid the rising fear, his resolve only strengthened. The climax awaited beneath the haunting facade. Chris stumbled upon a concealed entryway within the haunted house ride, hidden beneath a painted mural of macabre glee. The door led to a clandestine underground network, a twisted labyrinth of rough-hewn tunnels and echoing cries. Chris' heart hammered as he ventured deeper, the air thick with the stench of decay and despair. In the dim glow of his flashlight, the sight made his breath itch. A row of cages, filled with terrified children. And there, clutching the bars with white-knuckled desperation, was Jamie. The raw reunion was cut short as an ominous figure stepped from the shadows. The park's owner, Mr. Harlan. His eyes gleamed with a deranged satisfaction, his twisted smile a grotesque mockery of welcome. "You should have left well enough alone," he sneered, revealing a chilling network of human trafficking operations hidden within the guise of innocent amusements. The confrontation crackled with intensity. Chris's fury fueled his strength as he grappled with Harlan. The fight embodied every element of fear and hope he had clung to during his search. By sheer will and desperate calculation, Chris managed to subdue Harlan, the man's maniacal plot finally crumbling. Outside, the wail of sirens grew louder as the police descended upon Joyland. The sickening truth came undone. Staff members complicit, their silence bought with blood money. The grotesque operation unraveling in the wake of Chris' discovery. Jamie and the other children, though physically rescued, bore scars deeper than flesh. As dawn broke over Joyland, its artificially cheery appearance was forever tainted. Chris and Jamie returned home, their bond tested yet stronger, their resolve hardened. The park was shut down, its horrors laid bare. But the echoes of trauma lingered in the corners of their minds. The chilling case left unease and suspicion, an undercurrent that suggested not all was unraveled. Chris' story of relentless desperation and undeterred purpose became more than a narrative of rescue. It etched a permanent shadow on his family's heart. His vow to help the other victims, to root out every player in the sinister game, carried the story's weight forward. Asleep that first night home, Chris' dreams replayed the eerie laughter, the dark shadows, the ominous corridors of Joyland. And though Jamie was safe beside him, his lingering fear ensured that nightmares would plague him, a perpetual reminder of the day innocence was forever lost in Joyland Park.